recover from this disease. And, I thought I was going to be fired, but I actually got promoted. Or I was fired, but I found a better job. Or, I thought it was... So you just have to keep pushing on and be optimistic and think in the proper way, and, everything will work out. Of course, we know that's not true, but Maya makes us think that way, because that's an impetus for staying in Maya, because if you were convinced that you couldn't make it materially, you would give up. But Maya doesn't want you to give up, so she slaps you in the face. Then after she slaps you in the face, she gives you a sweet. But here's a sweet. You go, oh, the sweet tastes good, and you forget that you were just slapped in the face. Isn't it true? She'll slap you, but she'll give you enough that you can tolerate the slapping, and you can still think, well, maybe next time I can get the sweet without being slapped. And so she just has us bewildered and bamboozled, and therefore Prabhupada said, he called people who are not Krishna conscious fools and rascals, because they don't understand this is going on. So anyway, Lord Nrshmadev is doing that with Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu is thinking, hey, there's a chance. My long-cherished desire to kill Vishnu, it may be possible that I could actually do this. So that's going on and on and on like that. Now, I want to tell you something else that I don't think you know. Lord Nrshmadev comes in every kalpa, but sometimes his pastimes are slightly different. And in one kalpa, Lord Nrshmadev appeared at a big festival Hiranyakashipu was having. He had a big stadium, air-conditioned, and in that stadium there was no old age, disease, or death. And you went in there, so I guess you could stay there forever. And they're having a festival. It was a Hiranyakashipu festival to glorify and celebrate Hiranyakashipu, the best of the demons. And so everybody's glorifying Hiranyakashipu. As Bhagavatam says, in the material world, if you are a fool, if you are like a dog, then you glorify another man who's also like a dog. And so dogs are glorifying dogs. That's the program. And here's a dog. He's expert at eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. I envy such a person. I want to become as expert as him. So I publish magazines that glorify the activities of eating, sleeping, mating, defending of this dog. If you look at all the People magazines, what are they glorifying? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending of some human being who's acting more like a dog than a human being. And the other dogs are very much appreciative of that. So this was kind of the idea, that all the people were praising Hiranyakashipu, the biggest dog. So anyway, Lord Nrshmadev appears, he shows up. And the security says, no animals allowed in this festival. And Lord Nrshmadev, he just laughs. He says, yeah, right. Just push them out of the way. Then he comes in. Hiranyakashipu, quite shocked, you could say. And he could understand that this is Vishnu, and so he calls his army, and they try to kill him. And he had jet planes, and he was sending jet planes right into Lord Nrshmadev. And Lord Nrshmadev was like, just evaporating them. Then he's sending missiles. Lord Nrshmadev's evaporating them. So, that was another pastime where Lord Nrshmadev was having fun with Hiranyakashipu. I don't know if you've heard that pastime. And then he came and, he did his surgery on Lord Nrshmadev. Now, there's another story, or a detail to the story, is that, as we know, Prahlad couldn't be killed, so Hiranyakashipu was completely frustrated because his son, he considered his son an enemy, and he was training his son to be a first-class demon who would rule the kingdom after Hiranyakashipu's demise, and he couldn't train him to be a demon. He was naturally a devotee of Vishnu, and his whole kingdom stood against Vishnu. So now his son was useless. Not only useless, but he was an enemy. Not like neutral, just like he couldn't be a king, couldn't do anything. So whatever, he just hangs out of the kingdom, and eats and sleeps, and that's about it. It wasn't like that. He was an enemy, so therefore Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him, and when he couldn't kill him, he was completely frustrated, and he pulled out his sword, and he goes, I'm going to kill you today. And he said, Prahlad, where do you get your power? And Prahlad said, I get it from Vishnu. That's where you get yours. Everybody gets it. And I was just irritated. He goes, where's your Vishnu? He goes, he's everywhere. Is he here? Yes. Is he here? Yes. Is he in that pillar? So he hit the pillar. And normally the story is Lord Nrshmadev came out. But another take on it, or maybe a detail on it, or maybe it happened this way in one kalpa and didn't happen this way every time. He cracked the pillar, but Lord Nrshmadev didn't come out. And then he went to kill Prahlad Maharaj. And that's when Lord Nrshmadev came out. Now, yesterday in class, Gopal Krishna Maharaj told the complete story of Lord Nrshmadev, and somebody said, why did Lord Nrshmadev put the intestines around his body as a garland? And Maharaj said, it doesn't explain that in the scripture, and I don't want to guess, because I can't give an authoritative answer, which was an honest answer. And I began thinking, well, if I were asked that question, what would I say? And that of course, is one thing I could have said. But I was thinking, why would he do that? And if I answered the question, I would say, this is why I think he was doing it. I can't quote the acharyas. But in the world of kshatriyas, sometimes you see this spirit where the enemy has done such abominable actions, such horrible things, that they'll say things like, I will kill him and I will drink his blood, or I will take out his guts or his liver and I will eat it. They're so angry that to get revenge, they just want to eat part of the body or drink the blood. Just as, it's not enough to kill. I'm going to drink your blood. Or I'm going to get your blood and you offended my wife. I'm going to kill you, drain your blood, and give it to her to drink, just to get back at you. Like, not only are we going to kill you, but we're going to celebrate by drinking your blood. So that was, we're going to eat your liver. That was like the Kshatriya spirit. And all the women are going, yuck, I wouldn't want to drink his blood. Because you're not a Kshatriya. You don't understand the mood. The Kshatriyas are like, yes. Right? And so you see that if you read Mahabharata, you see that mood. So when Lord Nrshmadev put on the garland of intestines after he just, let's go back a little bit. Lord Nrshmadev they have a long nails which are like razor blades. So imagine these long razor blades, super thin and sharp. So it could just, they could just go inside anybody's body as if their body were like soft butter. So that's what Lord Nrshmadev did to Hiranyakashipu. His nails just went right in, like just very easily, and very deep. And he just pulled his heart out, and pulled his intestines out. And so my sense is that Lord Nrshmadev, he's coming in this Kshatriya spirit, this fighting spirit. And that's kind of like victory, I killed him and here's his intestines, and this is my victory garland that I'm wearing to show, kind of get, we've killed him. Not that he ate it, but that we killed him. So we're celebrating and wearing the garland. This is, the celebration. I'm walking, just killed him and I'm walking around with his intestines as my garland. So that's my sense of it. So Lord Nrshmadev is coming in that spirit, that spirit of fighting, and that's an aspect of it. So I'm going to go and see you had some question or comment. Where can we read about the fight? It's the 7th canto. There's 2 places you can read, the 2 places I know. There's 7th canto of Bhagavatam, and then there's a book called Nrsimha Purana, which describes more details than are in the Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam doesn't describe the fight in great detail. But, Hiranyakashipu was powerful, so he can fly in the sky and do all these things. Similar with Ram and Ravana, because Ravana was also Jai and Vijay reincarnating. Nrsimha Purana may have more details about the operation, but basically it didn't take very long. It was just in, open, and out. And so, as I was saying, or when, like Elton John, his life may be interesting, the Beatles' life may be interesting, only because people have a lot of money, can do things that you and I can't do, so it makes it seem interesting, but when it comes down to a blow-by-blow account of what they actually do, especially what they think, not really that so interesting, and in some cases it might be kind of obnoxious. So, now, here's Lord Nrshmadev, he's appearing, right? He's doing his Leela, and as I said, one of the reasons he does his Leela is so he can attract us, right? So, he shows off for us. Like, hey, it's like, we're all, we all go to Acapulco, right? And there's the surfboard rentals, and everyone goes, Prem Kishore, go out surfing, show us what you can do, So, Prem Kishore's like, no, come on, let's do something. So he he paddles out a little bit, catches a wave. No, doesn't do much. No, show us your stuff, So then he paddles way out, it's like 8 foot, he catches a wave, and he spins around, and this and that. Like, yeah. So that's what Lord Nrshmadev is doing, right? It's like, he could just blow Hiranyakashipu over, or he could just say, Hiranyakashipu, you're dead, and then that was it. Hiranyakashipu's dead, But it's kind of anticlimactic, We want to see some action here. You go to the movie, Lord Nrshmadev, Hiranyakashipu hits the pillar, Lord Nrshmadev comes out, he goes, Rah! And now Hiranyakashipu's dead and the movie's over. Not very exciting. So, Krishna wants to attract us. So there's this 6-hour fight back and forth. And then when he kills him, he just picks him up. He goes, okay, buddy, the fight's over. You have to be, I would love to fight you longer, but it's dusk, and I have to kill you at dusk, because you've got a benediction. Lord Brahma made it really difficult on me. I have to kill you at dusk. I can't kill you inside. I can't kill you outside. I can't be a man. I can't be a beast. I have to make all these considerations. So it's not day and it's not night, and that was the benediction. So it's dusk. So the fight's going to end now. And I can't kill you inside or outside, so I have to bring you into the doorway. So I'm going to bring you in the doorway. And I can't kill you in the sky or on the earth, so you have to sit on my lap, because then you're not on the sky or the earth. And I had to come as a half man, half lion, because I couldn't kill you as an animal or as a man. So fun's over. So now he just picks him up and he goes, okay, this is how it has to be done. Picks him up, sits him down in the doorway on his lap at twilight. And then he doesn't just go, poof, you're dead, or pick his chakra up and go, you're dead, but he does something interesting. He does an operation, does surgery with his nails. It's kind of interesting because doctors don't do surgery with their nails. They have instruments, but his nails are like instruments. And then, kind of dramatic scene. I don't know if the ladies would like it, but if you can imagine a movie of the killing of Lord Nrshmadev, and then he just puts his nails in, makes a clean incision. I don't think he used antiseptic, it wasn't necessary. Makes a clean incision, just pulls it apart, pulls his heart, I believe he pulled his heart out, which would kill him, and pulls his intestines out. Marina's not here to tell us if you would die if your intestines come out, because the yogis, they pull their intestines out and clean them out. I don't know if you know that. They get them out of their body, clean them out and put them back in. They don't dislocate them from their body. They're still connected. But anyway, so Lord Nrshmadev did something dramatic, because he can do that, and it's interesting for us. And Lord Nrshmadev ki jai, and he wears the garland, and everyone is excited. That's because some demigods would even serve him. That's amazing. Yeah, because they were afraid of him. They had to, or they'd be killed. But Krishna gave him that power, because Krishna wanted to fight somebody powerful, so he made Hiranyakashipu the most powerful person that could ever exist. So then, there's some fun, and then Hiranyakashipu could, put up a decent fight. Like, if you like to fight, you don't want to fight some 5-year-old kid. If you don't want to fight, you want to fight somebody who you can fight, who's strong. It's exciting, Then you have a fight, you go, that was a good fight. If you have someone who's just a pushover, it's like, that wasn't fun. They didn't even fight back, they couldn't do anything. So Krishna's like that. I'm just reading here. Read the Bhagavatam first to get the operation details, and if you get a hold of the Nrsimha Purana, there should be more. Is it bad if I want to see Hiranyakashipu versus Ravana? They're the same person, so it wouldn't happen. I just ruined Nishna's appetite. Is there any agreement on where the pastime is performed? Well, there are different places in India, and they say this is where Lord Nrshmadev came after he killed Hiranyakashipu. We have a place here called Nrshingapali, and this is where he came and washed his hands. They have a place in South India. My sense, without knowing Shastra, is that it was because Hiranyakashipu lived in the heavenly planets. So if that's where he lived, then that's where everything took place. But it doesn't really matter where it took place. Does it? Really? Anyway, that's... Then you say, well, why did he wash his hands here on this planet? No, he came down here. But then came down to Benedictus here. I'm not familiar with any remains or any indication that Hiranyakashipu's palace was here. Since it's described he took over Indraloka. Maybe he had another place also, but maybe somebody knows. I'm not aware of that. But there's different places in South India. This is where Lord Nrshmadev came after he killed Hiranyakashipu. I'm not a Nrshmadev buff. I don't know all the details, so I can't say. But I did want to bring up another point that you can meditate on. And today, for all of you, is Lord Nrshmadev's appearance day, and be praying to Lord Nrshmadev. When, as we know, Lord Nrshmadev was very, very angry, and nobody could pacify. He lived deep in the jungle on this planet, or some other planet. Or a place deep in the jungle where he went after he killed him to wash his hands. Anyway, so Prahlad was the only one who could pacify Lord Nrshmadev. He was just so angry nobody could pacify him. Even Lakshmi couldn't pacify him. Even Lord Brahma. And by the way, after this pastime, Nrshmadev told Lord Brahma, he said, don't give benedictions like that to demons anymore, because you made it really tough on me. It was all these conditions, and you made it really tough on everybody by granting him these benedictions. So anyway, Lord Nrshmadev says, Prahlad, what do you want? And what's nice about this is we see a very unusual situation, a situation that is not exactly a situation we will be in directly, but indirectly we're in a similar situation. So Lord Nrshmadev is appearing, Prahlad Maharaj is there, he pacifies the Lord, and then the Lord says, what do you want? And so now we see, well, what does the pure devotee ask for? It's very interesting. And Prahlad Maharaj says, I pray that all material desires within my heart will be vanquished. And so you have to reflect in your own life. If Krishna came to you, and Krishna is coming to you in form of the deity, what do you pray for? Krishna says, I will give you anything you want. What do you want? And then you pray, well, my old car is breaking down. A new car would be nice. And my apartment's a little small. I don't have room for all my stuff. Bigger apartment would be better. Actually, if I can get anything I want, how about a nice house? And how about enough money so I don't have to work anymore? And how about a husband and wife that just does anything I say? And I'd also like to be able to sing better. And while we're at it, I'm not a very good writer, so if you give me writing ability. And, you could imagine what is going through your mind. You're in front of God, and God is there. And God means He can do anything. So whatever you want, He can make happen, Oh, Lord Nrshmadev, I like a pile of gold. There's a pile of gold worth about $7 trillion, so what, $311 trillion. You could get the U.S. out of debt. I want a pile of gold worth $311 trillion, or whatever they're in debt. So I want to get the U.S. out of debt. No, I want to build 1 million temples, whatever. Nrsimha Swami said, he visited a spot that was difficult to get to, that was said to be the place. He said there was some sort of ghat there, supposed to be the place that Lord Nrshmadev washed his hands. Yeah. There's different places that said he washed his hands. So, this prayer of Prahlad, it's very instructive and it's very powerful. Because when he prays that I don't want any material desires, he also said, I'm not a businessman, that I'm going to ask you for something in exchange for some service. So by saying I don't want any material desires, it's the same way, it's another way of saying I want to love you. And I want to have a heart that's pure, because pure heart can love you. That's what I want. And it's also interesting, he didn't say, I don't want money, I don't want wealth, I don't want women, I don't want success, I don't want power. He said, I don't want material desire. So for a devotee, women, money, power, success are not bad. If, for example, we did a program, let's say we did a program in Mexico. And there's an organization called the Brahma Kumaris, and it's all celibate women. It's an organization only of women, and they're celibate. It's an Indian organization. So let's say we did a program with the Brahma Kumaris, and the program was so amazing, and Krishna just came down, Mahaprabhu came down and inspired us. It was an incredible program. And at the end of the program, the Brahma Kumaris said, we want to become devotees, all of us. We're going to turn our organization into a temple. We want to take shelter of your organization. We want to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And we want you to guide us. And there's like 30 of these women. A lot of them are young, energetic, attractive. And then we say, no, I don't want any women. So, no, you can't come. We reject women. No, we don't say that. We say, we reject the desire to enjoy women. We reject the desire for money. to be used in sense gratification. We reject the desire to be successful for sense gratification, to be powerful for sense gratification. So when Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I don't want any material desires, he's not saying, I don't want wealth, women, money, and so forth. He's saying, I don't want wealth, women, and money for sense gratification. But I want to be in a position where I can serve purely. Now, the other thing he asked for is the liberation of his father, and subsequently he asked for the ability to be able to help everybody. So they go together, the lack of material desire, excuse me, the lack of material desire and the desire to be liberated go together. The desire to liberate other people go together, because unless we have no material desire, how can we fully focus and be fully compassionate and fully give ourselves to helping other people? So this was Prahlad's desire. So now, the interesting point is that if Krishna comes and says, what do you want? It really is it's just a reflection on what's in your heart, because you're going to ask what's in your heart. Of course, Dustin might say, no, Krishna, I don't want anything, just pure devotional service. And in the back of your mind thinking, actually, I do need another apartment, and my car is breaking down, and it really would be nice if I didn't have to work, and really would be really nice to have a wife who just did anything I asked. That's going to be there in the back of our mind, yes? And then Krishna says, what do you want? We'd be challenged by that. Of course, you might say, but when I see Krishna, he's so beautiful, I won't ask for anything. Okay, aside from that reality, let's deal with the reality that there are many things we'd want, and being tempted to have the genie who could give anything, we would be tempted by those. So when we consider what would we ask Krishna if he said, I could give you anything, it causes us to reflect on what's in our heart. And why did Prahlad Maharaj say, I don't want any material desire? Because there were no desires in his heart. That's all he wanted. He just wanted to be pure. Now, it's interesting to ask Krishna to say, I want to be free from material desire, because none of us are free from material desire. But the desire to be free from material desire is so important. So devotees will complain, I have so many desires. Those are just conditioned desires. But there's two things that we have control of. We have control of whether or not we will act on those desires, and we have control of whether or not we desire not to have those desires. If the desire shows up, it's kind of too late, you can't do anything about it. Well, there it is. Where did it come from? Millions of lives of past conditioning. Okay, it's there. But when you're more advanced in Krishna consciousness, your desires will be purified. But until they're completely pure, you can desire to have pure desire. And when the impure desire comes up, you manifest the desire to have pure desire, so you don't give in to the other desires. So the other desires being there, for a devotee, are really not a big consequence, as long as he's only desiring to have no desire. So when it's like, let's say you're on a diet, and so you can't have ice cream and cake. And you're walking down the street, and there's a bakery, and it's got all these beautiful cakes. And blowing out of the bakery is a fan with a fragrance. Sometimes they blow cinnamon out, and so they have this cinnamon cake, and you love cinnamon cake. And your doctor has convinced you that you shouldn't eat it. So you're conflicted. Means you have a desire to eat it from your previous conditioning because you love it, but you have a desire not to eat it because you know it's bad for you, and your doctor has convinced you beyond any question of a doubt that it's bad for you. He's convinced you so much that actually you have a desire in your heart not to eat it. So you have both desires. Isn't that weird? You're like schizophrenic. You have a desire, look at that cake, oh my God, and it smells so good, and I love cinnamon cake. And say, what? I have no desire to eat this because it's bad for me and I want to get healthy. Isn't that interesting? That you could have completely opposite desires, but that's how it works. Conditioning, I want power, I want to enjoy the opposite sex, I want money, I want influence, I want success, I want to outdo others, I want to be number one, all these things. That we all bring to the table to one degree or another when we take birth. Now I become Krishna conscious and I realize the goal is love of Krishna, and love of Krishna means, or one symptom is, that I have no desire for anything other than Krishna's service. And I want that. That's what I want. That's what Prabhupada came to give. This is what he wants me to have, and therefore, in the core of my heart, this is what I want. And so, when the desire comes up, if we want to be free from desire, then the desire to be free from the desire overcomes the desire that came up as a conditioned desire. And that's how we are able to go on in devotional service and live on such an exalted level, even though we're not that exalted. Because the desire to be pure has been put in our heart by Prabhupada, and put in our heart by a sadhu sangha and hearing Bhagavatam and chanting. So that desire is super important. So when Prahlad Maharaj says, I don't want any material desire, then we should think, yes, this is what I get from Prahlad Maharaj. Then Prabhupada explains, another Shastra explains, when you pray to Lord Nrshmadev, pray, ask Prahlad, pray to be free from material desire. Please come, and just like you destroyed Hiranyakashipu, destroy all my material desires. So will Lord Nrshmadev destroy your material desires? If you want him to, and you pray to him, he will. And you pray to him and you want him to because you've put that desire in your heart to be free from desire. And that's how we overcome our material conditioning. So even though we're not on the highest level of Krishna consciousness, still we can be acting like we're on a high level because we have the desire to be on the high level, and that desire overrides the lower desire. And if the lower desire is stronger than the desire to be without desire, then the lower desire will override the desires to be free from material desires. So that's how it works, and that's why young devotees are able to overcome material desire. Even when the material desire is there, they overcome it because they don't want it. They don't want to give into it. All right, the mind is saying, yes, you want this. This is attractive to you. And you're saying, I know it's attractive, but I don't want it. It's not what my life is for. I want to be a pure devotee of Krishna. That's what I want. So that's how we deal with it. So it's very important. So the two things that Prahlad, well, he prayed for liberation of his father, but that also goes along with the fact that he wanted everybody liberated. So that is one aspect that we can see manifesting in the consciousness of Prahlad Maharaj. Another aspect we see, the aspect of, I just want pure bhakti, I don't want any material desire. So when we approach Lord Nrsimhadev, we can approach him in the same way. So I'm leaving this morning in 2 hours. And I'm still in the process of packing, so I just want to see if you have any questions, other questions or comments before we consider ending class. And I'm going to be in a different time zone. And my time zone is going to be a few hours earlier than India, which may or may not make it possible to do Saturday's class. It depends. We'll have to see. Might have to play it a little bit like year by year. And I will be in different time zones for at least another month. So, and usually when I'm traveling, I'm doing workshops on the weekends. So, and also going to Muscat. That also, it's only like 110 degrees there. Like 82 degrees when you wake up. So what we might have to do, as we often do when I'm traveling, is when I give Bhagavatam class, then I record that. And so Bhagavatam class is there. Well, it's still early. I gave a Bhagavatam class there at 7. It would be 20 minutes. 7 would be like 4 o'clock here. Which would be, it would be like, for you guys, it would be like evening time, like 6 o'clock. So that could work. Anyway, we'll see. So keep meditating and praying on Lord Nrshmadev, to Lord Nrshmadev. On his appearance day, he's very merciful. And somehow or other, by Krishna's mercy, yesterday I got to bathe Lord Nrshmadev, and I got to put sandalwood pulp on his body. There's some divine mercy. So, if your desire is pure desire for service, maybe someday you'll have the opportunity to bathe Lord Nrshmadev, or you'll get a Lord Nrshmadev deity, and you'll be able to worship him like that. So, Lord Nrshmadev is our savior from material desire, and he's protecting us from the obstacles, and so we chant his prayer, Lord Nrshmadev, when we travel to protect us. And so we feel deeply connected, and he can also give us pure love of Krishna. Okay. So we'll see you this Saturday. I'll be giving a workshop at that time, so it's probably not going to work out, but I will know better when I get there and find out the exact hours. Well, actually, it might work out. We will see.